Hello everyone. Today I'm going to discuss Science 10 Quarter 1 Module 2 which regards about the plate boundaries. After going through this module, you're expected to first describe the different types of plate boundaries. And number 2, you're going to identify the places that lie on the different types of boundaries. Now first we're going to define what is plate boundaries. So plate boundaries are the edges where two plates met. Most geological activities, including volcanoes, earthquakes, and mountain building, take place at the plate boundaries. So meaning to say, these plate boundaries, dito po natin makikita kung saan po nagtagpo yung dalawang plate which are moving in a certain direction. Based po dito sa picture natin, on the left side you can have there the oceanic plate, and on the right side you can have there the continental plate. Then if you're going to try to look at their movement, they're actually moving towards each other. So kung saan po magtagpo yung dalawang plate, dito po, this grain area there, that is our plate boundaries. Okay? So if you try to look at the picture, along the plate boundaries or near the plate boundaries, we can see their different geological features. So if you try to find there, you have there the trench, and you can also find there the volcanoes. Okay, so that is the plate boundaries. And then in this illustration also, if you try to look at it, you can see my mouse, the cursor of my mouse. So this plate here is moving to the left, and there is an intersection in this particular area. Okay, and in the middle also, this is also the kung saan po nagtagpo yung dalawa. Okay, this is the point kung saan din sila naghiwalay. Okay, the intersection between the two plates. And then dito po sa right side, we also have here the intersection of the two plates. So those are actually our plate boundary. Okay, now we have three types of plate boundary. First, we have the transform fault boundary, wherein the two plates are sliding past each other. And the second, we have the divergent plate boundary, wherein the two plates are moving away from each other. And then we have the third one, the convergent plate boundary. Two plates are actually moving towards each other. Now let's try to discuss the transform fault boundary. Now, based on the picture presented, if you can see there, we have two plates that are actually moving past each other. So this is the illustration of the transform fault boundaries. Now, if you can see this picture right here, because of so much friction, this particular area, for instance, it will result to earthquake, and this will be our focus. Okay, this will be the origin of an earthquake, considering because of too much friction when two plates slide past each other, and then this energy build up right there, it will be released in a form of seismic waves, and those are actually our earthquake, which again travel in all direction. Next, we have also here the picture of the San Andreas fault. If you try to remember the movie San Andreas, okay, ang main actor to, we have si The Rock, no? So actually ang San Andreas is along San Andreas fault line. This is an example of transform fault boundary. Then we have also here the aerial view of the transform fault boundary along the San Andreas fault. So yung nakikita nyo dito, our geological events which usually happen along the transform fault boundaries are stronger earthquake. Next, we have divergent plate boundaries. So again, divergent plate boundaries are moving away from each other. So yung boundary na ito, dito po makita kung saan naghiwalay yung dalawang plate. At kung maghiwalay yung dalawang plate, definitely there will be fracture above the surface of the earth. And it happens that this fracture will widen, okay, just like this second picture right here. It will widen to the point that for a million of years to happen or to occur, these two land masses will be divided by ocean water. So this is divergent plate boundaries. So they are constructing, okay, right here, they are constructing new plates and then these new plates are spreading, or we call it the seafloor spreading. The seafloor spreading occur along the divergent plate boundary. So if you can try to look at this picture right here, these two land masses are once connected before, but since the plate are moving away from each other, they are trying to separate. And then just like this one, and then for let's say a million of years in the future, these two land masses will be divided by ocean water, like this one. Okay, so they are divided will be with ocean water in a million years, okay, in the future. And then in the middle of the divergent plate boundaries, we can also find there the mid-ocean ridge. So these are actually underwater mountain ranges wherein magma from the mantle rises up, and when which solidify on the surface of this mid-ocean ridge. As they try to push it upward, okay, they are trying to make a mountain ranges, but this is underwater. That is mid-ocean ridge. Now let's talk about the convergent plate boundary. So we have actually three types of convergent plate boundary. First is the continental to oceanic plate convergence. If you try to recall, no, we have two types of plates. We have the continental and then the oceanic. So dito po sa convergent plate boundary, we have three types depending on what type of plates are converging, or depending on what type of plates are moving towards each other. So the first type is continental to continental plate convergence, and the second type is oceanic to oceanic plate convergence, and then the third one will be the continental to continental plate convergence. Now let's try to talk about continental to oceanic plate convergence. Now this is actually very common among the three, no? And then in this geological activities of continental to oceanic plate convergence, if you try to look at this, we have there the trench, then we also have there the volcanoes. The oceanic crust or the oceanic plates again is denser. That is why it bends downward going towards the mantle, because again this is much denser. If you try to see my first video about the module 1, then you will be able to understand the process between the two colliding plates. Sino po yung magsabdak and sino po yung nanatili sa itaas. We have here the oceanic to oceanic plate convergence. Now, if you try to think about it, both oceanic plate are denser. So, but again, even if both oceanic plate are denser, it doesn't mean to say that they have equal density. So whichever plate is denser, it will move towards the mantle and goes to the mantle and then melted, just like this illustration right here. And then this melted material will rise up on the surface, creating islands, and these islands are said to be volcanic island. Now, these volcanic island are actually parallel to the trench right here. So whenever there is a trench, it is expected that there will also be volcanoes parallel to its placement. Next, we have the continental to continental plate convergence. So this continental to continental plate convergence, they are both less dense, therefore they will not subduct beneath the other. One of it will not subduct, but definitely they will buckled up, forming mountain ranges. So this is continental to continental plate convergence. Now let's try to go back first in the oceanic to oceanic plate convergence. In the oceanic plate convergence, once there will be earthquake created in this particular region right here because of grinding of the plates, it will actually result to strong earthquake. And since the focus is under the ocean water, definitely we can expect that the tsunami may rise up. Okay, it may happen just like what happened in Japan 2011. That is why one of the most danger part of this oceanic to oceanic plate convergence, that during earthquake we can expect that tsunamis may form, especially when the earthquake produced are having higher magnitude. Now, The Philippine Island, if you try to look at this illustration, okay, what do you think is the type of plate boundaries formed? Okay, very good. We have the convergent plate boundary, which is continental to oceanic plate convergence. Again, we have to assess your learnings. So, I expect that you will also answer it on your own as you watch this video. Then we have here the different plates around the world, and then you can see also there the movement of each plate. So if you know the different type of plate boundaries, then you will know what type of plate boundaries are formed in these certain areas right there, wherever those movements are being created. Okay, so when the arrow is going towards each other, therefore that is convergent boundary, just like this one. We have this area right here. But when the arrow is sliding past each other, therefore this is the transform fault boundaries. If the arrow says it's moving away from each other, therefore this is what we call the divergent plate boundaries. Okay, let's try to do some assessment. Okay, what type of plate boundaries is presented in this illustration? Okay, very good. We have there the transform fault boundaries. If you can see, the arrow are actually moving past each other. Next, how about this one? Try to look at the arrow, try to figure it out. What is the type of plate boundaries created? Okay, very good. We have the convergent plate boundary. If you try to look at it, this is continental to oceanic plate convergence. How about this one? The two arrows are moving away from each other. Okay, very good. That is divergent plate boundary. Then identify the following geological features presented in the arrow right there. That is, okay, good. This is the trench. Then how about this one? Okay, very good. This is the volcano. That is actually the volcano. And those volcanoes right there are said to be the volcanic arc. And then their location is parallel to the trench. How about this one? Alright, that is Rift Valley. And the type of plate boundaries presented is the divergent boundary. Very good. Hope you learned something from this discussion. And next time I will be presenting Module 3 Science 10.